So you're thinking about moving to Central Oregon, but you're not sure where. Maybe it's Bend, maybe it's Redmond, maybe it's Sisters, maybe it's Powell Butte, maybe it's Madras, maybe it's Lapine, maybe it's Sun River. Who knows? Well, in this video, we're going to be highlighting one town specifically, Redmond, from a Google Earth standpoint. I love this tool. It's very productive. It gives people perspective as to what's going on in and around a certain region that we highlight. And so today we're going to be doing that with Redmond to give you context as to where it is in proximity from Bend or the mountains or Portland and the Valley or the airport, all kinds of things. We want to give you that perspective so you can make your way here and know a little bit about what's going on in Central Oregon as you start to view your home. So if this video sounds like it's for you, stick around. We're going to be getting after this tour right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad, the bird's eye view perspective of Bend and Central Oregon, then subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Bend or anywhere else in Central Oregon. My name's Ryan and I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. My business partner, Zach, and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you looking for help on making their smooth move to Bend or Redmond or anywhere else here in sunny, beautiful Central Oregon. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even set up a Zoom meeting. We'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Bend or anywhere else here in Central Oregon. So like I said in the intro, we're going to be doing a Google Earth tour of Redmond today. Now, we tried this a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two back. It was with Bend to give you the idea of what Bend and its landscape, what the town structure is all about in its proximity to the mountains, the river, etc. We're going to do that same thing today with Redmond. For me, Redmond is kind of the centerpiece of Central Oregon. I get Bend is the bigger city. This is where I live. It gets more the notoriety. It's more famous, etc. But Redmond has the fairgrounds. It has the airport. It's closer to Portland. It's closer to Sisters in Eugene. So it's right there in the thick of everything, and it's up and coming. It's growing at the exact same clip, maybe even faster than Bend. So there's no reason why we shouldn't give as much credit as possible to the smaller town of Redmond, but not by much. So that's what we're going to do today, and it's way more cost effective, way more affordable town to live in, but you get all the exact same beautiful, awesome outdoor amenities that Bend has in the Central Oregon region. So with that being said, we're going to share the screen. We're going to hop right into this tour, and we're going to get after it. So I'm going to share my screen, and we will just be off to the races here. So Redmond, the centerpiece of Central Oregon, like I said. And why is that? Well, it's a little closer to Portland. It has the airport. It has the fairgrounds. It has all kinds of stuff that Bend doesn't necessarily have. I get that a lot of people that live in Redmond have to travel to Bend for work or for certain things that Redmond doesn't have that Bend does have. But Redmond does have some things that Bend doesn't have. So it goes back and forth. We kind of help each other out in that regard, even though there's a friendly rivalry going on between Redmond and Bend. But today we're going to be focusing on the city of Redmond. So this is what the bird's eye view from a Google map standpoint looks like. Right in the center of the state there, you can see it. Redmond is basically the middle of the state, Bend not too far away, so they're both one and the same in that regard, but they are very close in proximity to each other, about 15 miles apart. We have the Highway 97 that goes in between and connects the two towns there. If we zoom in a little bit, we have Bend down here on the bottom. We have Redmond up here to the north. If you look around on the Google Earth app here, what you see here is Mount Hood. That's up in the Portland area. Hood River is up on the Columbia River. We've got mountains up here even further. Those are in Washington. This is likely Mount Adams or Mount St. Helens, or maybe it's even Mount Rainier up in the Seattle area. That's what's unique about Google Earth, is that it provides such unique perspective of the surrounding areas. So this is looking northbound. And what you see here is the Bend Municipal Airport. That is a private airport, small landing strip. Some people will fly their private jets into that area, and it's got easy access points to certain golf courses, like say Pronghorn Resort right here, or Brasada Ranch out in Powell Butte. So that is a very interesting area where a lot of planes will fly in, kind of under the radar. A lot of people don't know about the fact that there are some commercial and private jets that will fly into that landing strip there. But ultimately, the primary hub and commercial airport where most of our commercial air flight is taking place is going to be up here in Redmond. You can see it right here. It's in the city limits proper of Redmond. It's on the southeast part of town. And if we were to zoom in just a little bit more, what we'll see is that the Redmond Fairgrounds, or the Deschutes County Fairgrounds for that matter, are right here as well. They're right next to each other. So airplanes fly over the top of the fairgrounds on a regular basis. There's about 30 flights a day going in and out. And so it's not crazy. It's not like a big city where there's constant movement, air travel going in and out. We have very specific times of when the planes are coming in and coming out of the town. But a lot of times, there's a few 737s that'll come in and out. So it's starting to feel like a big city here in Redmond. But they'll fly low flying aircraft over the town. And so you get that buzz, you hear the planes, and they make that noise that make you feel like you're in a big city sometimes. Doesn't happen all the time, just a few times a day. So it's not too bad. But if we continue to look on at the perspective of Redmond from Google Earth, what we have here is Smith Rock State Park, just up to the north. It's about 15 minutes. A world-renowned rock climbing area, as well as a hiking area. It's just absolutely spectacular what the landscape really is with that. You truly have to go there at least once. If you're coming here for a weekend in the spring or summertime, or even fall, to check houses out and check out the amenities that surround Central Oregon, you got to go to Smith Rock at least once. You got to go up to the Cascade Lake Scenic Byway. There's just so many different things that you really have to take in to give you that real perspective of what's going on in the Central Oregon and surrounding areas. So if we're to zoom in here, what we're going to do now is just kind of move ourselves looking westbound. Okay, this is going to be the city of Redmond. Again, about 36,000 people. It's not overwhelming. It's about 1/3 the size of Bend. So if you're looking for a smaller town, this is what you're going to get. A little slower pace. There's a lot of people that prefer Redmond over Bend, and it's because of the size of Bend. Bend feels like a bustling city sometimes. There's 100,000 people in the city limits. It gets all the notoriety and the credit for being this great mecca of outdoor recreation. Redmond gets the exact same credit, just on a lower scale. Okay, at a lower level. But Bend, people travel to Bend first typically when they're visiting for the first time on vacation, and then they typically will come to Bend when they're looking at homes or when they're considering moving to the area for the first time, and then they learn about Redmond later on. So Redmond's the little brother, but it also gets a lot of the notoriety too once you get to know the area. And that's what's unique about Redmond, is the fact that it kind of lays under the radar a little bit, flies high under the radar, so to speak. But if we're looking westbound now, this is pretty fantastic. The same perspective that Bend would have if it's looking westbound. But you've got the sisters over here, South Sister, the Middle Sister, the North Sister. We've got Mount Washington, and we even have Three Finger Jack. And if we look over a little bit further, we'll see Mount Jefferson over there. But beyond that is going to be the Willamette Valley. You see the little 5 sign here. This is Interstate 5, one of our 2 primary interstates. This one goes north and southbound from the Canadian border all the way down to the Mexican border, through Washington, through the Portland Metroplex, through the primary area of where Oregon's population is in the Willamette Valley. Then it goes down into California and goes all the way down through LA and San Diego, and that's where it ends at the border there. But that's what you see over there. That's 125 miles away from this vantage point right here. But we have this barricade of mountains that is going to create 2 different distinctive climates, okay? On the other side of these mountains is what we call the Willamette Valley. That's where the majority of our population resides. And then on this side, our side, is where the Redmond and Bend areas are. This is more of a high desert climate, okay? Up to 300 days of sunshine a year. Much drier, much less precipitation. We get about 30 to 35 inches of snow in Bend on an annual basis, and with Redmond's probably 10 inches less or so. We're at about 600 feet lower in elevation in Redmond as opposed to Bend. Bend's at 36, Redmond's at about 3,000 feet. Redmond still will get some snow. It will accumulate. Sometimes it sticks around for a while depending on what kind of cold spells we're having, but ultimately it's much less. So Redmond is a little warmer in the summertime as well. If it's going to be, say, 82 to 85 in Bend, it's probably closer to 87 to 90 in Redmond. That's just on a daily basis. Those are the fluctuations. That's what we get. And so you can expect to have a little bit hotter of a climate in Redmond than in Bend. If that's something that you're sensitive to, or that's something that you're looking for as far as the way the fluctuations of the weather patterns go, that's what you're going to get a little bit. Even if they're just 15 miles apart, there's a slight difference in those climates. So if we're to zoom in here, the primary road here is going to be Highway 97. That will go from north to south or south to north. And what you see here is the majority of Redmond's growth is going to be on the west side of Highway 97, looking towards the mountains. Okay, there is some development on the other side, but ultimately it's a lot of industrial area and a lot of businesses, a lot of commercial development on that side of 97 if it goes right through the center. So the majority of where people will reside and purchase their home, if they're in the city limits of Redmond, is going to be on the west side of that highway. And so that's fine. That's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter, but that's just a little factoid. But it goes right through the center of town, and you can see here it ends at the very top. It's kind of a freeway type system. This was installed back in 2013, I think, is when it opened, but it started construction. It was basically a way to create a highway or freeway type system of 97 that went around the downtown area, which is where 97 went through for the longest time. So imagine having a small town like Redmond where all your primary highway and freeway traffic has to go right through downtown to get through the semi trucks, et cetera, that are just not even, they don't even need to go into Redmond, but they have to go through it to get to their next spot, whether that's further north into Oregon or further into Washington, or if you're going south down into California. But that's the way it was. And so, you know, small town vibes, even in up to 2006, you have the primary highway going right through the downtown area. And that's that was since changed, which is nice. So that gives the downtown area a little bit more perspective or a little bit more character. So that's a unique feature too. So again, we have more of Redmond. If we're looking down here, this is called the Dry Canyon trail system right here. This is about 3 miles long. It's just a natural, ecological, whatever it is, a landscape where it's basically this fantastic land piece where people can go in there and they can hike and they can play sports and they can walk their dogs, they can ride their bikes. It's just a very unique thing that basically nothing else in the area has. And there's houses up on the cliffs here, so you might be lucky enough to find a house that just overlooks the canyon itself. It's just one of the mainstays of Redmond that other areas in the Central Oregon region don't have, is a natural dry canyon that goes right through the center of town. And you can see the development that's in and around the area. So it's been here for hundreds of thousands of years, who knows how long. I don't claim to be some sort of geological expert here. I never could be. But point is that Redmond's development started to go around it, and it's basically encompassed it. And so that's what's unique. We've got bridges that go over the top of it. It's a landmark within the city of Redmond that certainly Bend doesn't have, and that's very nice. And so if we continue to look on, and you can see here what's happening with the landscape here is that we're at the slopes of the mountain, the very foothills of the mountains. Everything slopes upward towards those mountains. So the further west that you go, like towards Sisters there, it's going to slowly but gradually kind of go up towards those mountains in terms of the elevation. And so you get higher and higher the further west you go, you get lower and lower the further east and north that you go. If we continue our tour here, we'll look on from the south. Now we're looking southbound, and Redmond, let's see. We'll zoom in, we'll look at some of these homes here, some of the neighborhoods, but Redmond basically is just a big square. It's a grid system. There's 4 different areas of town, and they've got a lot of great development going on right now. There's so many different restaurants that are coming in. There's so many new businesses that are coming, choosing Redmond over Bend to do their commerce. Again, the cost of living in Redmond is going to be significantly less than it is in Bend, especially if you just compare the median home price of a home in Bend versus the median home price of a home in Redmond. And so that's something that is definitely a feature and a strong suit for anybody that's coming in from out of the area to consider living in the Central Oregon region. $500,000 in Redmond will go much further in Redmond than it would in Bend. Just like $1 million in Redmond, it will go much, much further in Redmond than it would in Bend. The volume of $1 million homes in Redmond versus Bend is not even comparable at this very moment in time. But if you chose to bring your budget at that level to the Central Oregon region, I would absolutely suggest we both take a look at Redmond and Bend, just to give you some perspective as to what $1 million will get you in Redmond versus what $1 million will get you in Bend. Very unique perspective, little different from the two, but they're not too far apart at the same time. So if we pan around here, now we're looking eastbound. What you're going to see here is the Dry Canyon. Again, we're looking into the Oregon Badlands area here. This is where the desert turns into a lot of sagebrush, a lot of juniper trees, and even the further and further east we go, the less trees we see. And so we're basically at the Cascade Mountain foothills here. And ultimately what happens is that the further east you go, the drier it's going to get, the flatter it's going to get, and then it just turns into Oregon Badlands. And ultimately out there's Prineville right there, about 30 miles. It's another small, beautiful gem of Central Oregon that's in Crook County. But after Prineville, there's basically nothing to the east except a couple small towns, maybe John Day, and then up in the northeast we have Pendleton, Hermiston, and LeGrand, Baker City, etc. But outside of that, there is nothing. There's so much Oregon wilderness to explore to the east, and Redmond and Bend are basically the gateways to that. If you like to hunt, if you like to fish, that's the direction you want to go. You can go west too, behind what we're looking at right now, up into those mountains to the Cascade Lakes. But the landscape is completely different. The climate's completely different. So you're right on the cusp of two different climates here in Redmond, and that's very unique too. So the next big city is going to be about 5.5 to 6 hours to the east, and that's Boise, Idaho. And so, yeah, that gives you guys some perspective on where things are at here from a Google map standpoint. Again, Redmond is a absolute gem in Central Oregon here, and it's a very unique place to live. And if you guys are curious about coming into the Central Oregon area to learn more about what is available, we would love to share all the perspective that we can with you, because we've lived here for a long time. We're both licensed brokers with eXp Realty, and ultimately what our goal here is with this channel is to earn your business. And what we want to do is provide as much value with these videos as we possibly can leading up to your first visit, or maybe your second visit, upon actually considering not just visiting for vacation purposes, but maybe for actually rolling your sleeves up and going to look at homes and trying to figure out where the best fit is going to be for you upon your arrival, so you can hit the ground running when it's time to move here. So again, my name's Ryan. I'm with eXp Realty. We're so glad you guys are watching these videos. If you guys can provide us with some perspective or some thoughts on how we're doing with our videos, if there's other information that you're seeking, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Give us some more ideas as to what our next video should be. We've got some home tours lined up here as we move into the spring and summer season. We want to show you guys what that looks like, especially when the sunshine is out and the typical daytime high is 75 or higher. So those days are coming. We're really excited about that. We can't wait to show you guys all of the landscape that is Central Oregon when the days are beautiful. So that's coming real soon. Again, we thank you guys for your support and watching our videos. Again, you can reach out to us. You can call us. It starts with you guys. If we're going to make something happen and serve you as clients, we need to hear from you guys first. You can give us a call. You can text us. You can set up a Zoom meeting, or you can email us. All of our contact information is in the comment section below right now. It's pinned at the top. Please reach out to us when the time is right. We would love to meet you guys. We can't wait to do so. If we don't see you around town, we will just plan on seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching and have a great day.